All right, I am at the office of Joan Gladstone, who is a PR professional in Orange County. Actually, I should say one of the premier PR professionals and also a professor at Chapman University. And tell us a little bit about yourself for those people that don't know who you are.
Okay, Ted, it's great to see you. Thank you for the opportunity for this. Well, I've been in PR a long time, and I've had my own PR firm for 21 years, in addition to teaching full-time at Chapman University. My niche, if you will, for the last few years has been issues management. And my work has been both issues and crisis management for a lot of different companies. But I think the purpose of why we're here is a lot of my work has been in land use, public relations, doing community outreach in communities that may not want change.
Right. So that's a tough part of public relations, is the issues management. And I know that my team, for those people that are watching this, you're going to experience the montage, and you're going to experience the beauty of the montage as part of our communications staff retreat there next week. And so I wanted to give a little bit of historical perspective of the beautiful setting that is the montage. But before the montage, there was something else that was really unique to Southern California. Can you share a little bit about the this prime piece of real estate in South Orange County?
Absolutely. Back in the 20s and 30s, people would travel down to Orange County to have a little break from Los Angeles. So they pack their kids up into their cars and they pitch a tent on beaches.
In fact, there's some photos there, so
we
I'm going to just go over
have an image right now. You can see Aliso Beach, which is right below Montage, a little bit south of the resort, and you can kind of make out some of the cars parked right on the sand and all the tents that were there when families would go for several weeks on end, and for no charge they just pitch a tent and they'd have a wonderful summer vacation.
All right. So then, so what happened as far as the transformation of the montage? I know that there was an RV park that was there called Treasure Island RV Park, and can you give us a little bit of history about that park, and then what happened as far as the development plans in Laguna?
That sounds great. So after the 20s and 30s, when you had people tent camping, people realized that the property in Laguna Beach, especially near Montage, was quite valuable, and so they created the Treasure Island Mobile Home Park. And the Treasure Island Mobile Home Park at one time had over 200 small trailers that people would live in, mostly in the summer and sometimes throughout the entire year. And so this mobile home park was there throughout the 30s and the 40s, 50s, 60s, until the owner of the mobile home park said, maybe this is a good time to sell. Maybe there's a higher and best use for this area than having transients who are coming and staying and then not here all year round. At that point, the trailers were dilapidated. Many of them, again, did not have full-time residents, so it was not in great shape. Many developers showed up to say, we'd like to buy it. As a matter of fact, I think there was something like 35 different developers over the years that wanted to purchase this property, but there was a big problem. Do you want to sit down?
Oh, no. I mean, I'm okay. Yeah.
You going to be?
Yeah, I'm okay. So I'm going to just be behind the camera, and
should I be looking at the camera at you, Ted?
Anything you want.
Little art direction here for
That's
all
right.
of you. So essentially, the problem in Laguna Beach, I think you can probably guess from your own experience, is that Laguna Beach is one of the most NIMBY communities in California, if not in the nation. You have people who have inherited their properties from their grandparents, never sold their homes. So you have people living in this home 40, 50, 60 years, and they don't want change of any sort. So finally, my client was the Athens Group, and the Athens Group is a boutique resort developer. They've worked with Four Seasons, they've worked with the Ritz-Carlton, and what made Athens different was, rather than a cookie cutter, we'll build our typical hotel on this site, they designed the resorts to fit into the unique environment of that space. So if it was a ski resort, it would have that lodge feel. And so the Athens Group was able to work with the ownership of what became Montage. This was the first Montage. There are now several Montage hotels. Work with the ownership of Montage. Athens Group was the developer, not the owner. And then Montage ultimately, once the property was built, would operate the resort that you see today.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about the opposition that you faced as far as, with working with the Montage to create the new space and and how you utilize community involvement to help design something that was a win-win for both the resort and the community.
I think I'll talk to you. It's nicer to
Sure.
talk to you, Ted, than to look into the camera lens,
Sure.
so forgive me. So essentially, when we began work, the first thing that I did was conduct a community assessment to reach out into the leadership of Laguna Beach and try to understand what issues we might face and who the potential allies would be, as well as the potential opposition. The opposition in Laguna, interestingly, was not really confined to the typical groups of environmentalists. What we really faced was opposition by people living in South Laguna. Laguna Beach is divided, and Nice Place, if you passed Ruby's on the way, Nice Place is the dividing line. Everything to the south, where Montage is considered South Laguna. South Laguna has a very active community organization, South Laguna Civic Association. Again, they do not like any change. So our number one opposition group was this particular group that has been very vocal and active in the past. Throughout the assessment process, we were able to identify those we thought might be supportive because of the economic benefits, for example, to the town, and those who might be opposed. Where we actually found we were able to align with environmental groups was this. In the course of doing our research, we learned that there was one major benefit that most everyone saw in converting a gated mobile home park to an open environment, a resort, and a public park, and that was beach access.
So that's an important issue throughout California, not just in Laguna or South Orange County.
I guess I've not worked outside, but we found in our course of our research that number one, over and over again, people were basically horrified that any beach in Laguna would be private, if you will. And as today, you'll see the staircases going to the beach and this wonderful ramp for wheelchair access and young families and strollers going down to the beach. That didn't exist. So it wasn't easy to get from this bluff top setting down to where the beach was. Once we were able to identify beach access as a benefit, we kept going. Another benefit to people was tide pool protection. This is one of the highest rated tide pools in the state of California. It's very pure and wonderful. How could we protect that with docent training and education of the residents so the kids wouldn't go and, oh, look, Mommy, here's this wonderful crab that I found. So that became another point that helped us with the environmentalists. The third one, there were more, but the third one that was very important to Surfriders Foundation and those who like to swim, scuba dive, and surf in Laguna was the wastewater treatment facility that Montage would build. Essentially, if you look behind you and you look to the homes that are above Montage, all the runoff from all those homes, people washing their cars, you name it, would hit Pacific Coast Highway, flow over the old mobile home park, and guess what? Dump into the ocean, completely unfiltered. So what Montage promised to do was build a treatment facility on the property, not just for the Montage, but for all the residents above the property, and that became a huge benefit. Ultimately, Surfriders spoke in favor of this project at the California Coastal Commission, and the commissioner said, because I was there, this is the first time we've had a Surfrider member speak in favor of development.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
It was.
Something like that. This is not cheap. So why? What was the process of the owners, the developers of the Montage, finally concluding that this is the right thing to do? That it is cost beneficial. I mean, can you kind of walk us through that step?
Yes, again, I don't know the purchase price of the property because it was purchased by private investors, but essentially, when Athens Group got interested in this property and the ownership of Montage said, yes, we want to make this a wonderful resort, this again was not a cookie cutter. This was going to be a magnificent five-star resort on a beautiful bluff top setting that is unlike really anything in California. So the developers early on wanted to create a public park. They weren't forced to. The size and the configuration was changed somewhat. The tables you're sitting at, if you're at the picnic area, some of those tables were not in the original plan. Initially it was a public park without all the benches and all the amenities. So there's negotiation between cities and developers to upgrade the original plan. So the cost that would go into creating the Montage was partially offset by selling the lots. So if you look around, you'll see private homes. There are villas, which are like condos, and there are custom home lots. I believe about 14 custom home lots. Each lot sold for many millions of dollars. So the concept was, if we convert some of our property with 30 acres of land, if we convert some of our property to custom home lots, we'll make income. And that income will fund the construction of the resort and all the amenities that the city ultimately asked us to create.
That's great.